What is going on, everyone? Welcome back. I hope you're all doing well and staying healthy. Really, if you think about it, I guess that's what we all want to achieve anyway, staying healthy. Not just during a pandemic, but like everyday life. Your parents helped you out with this when you were a kid. Stay out of the street, look both ways, stop, drop, and roll, don't pee on that timber wolf, and wait 30 minutes after eating before you go swimming. All that helps keep us safe, healthy, and live longer. I thought today I would add on to some of those things you already know and make a list of places that are too dangerous to visit. Sure, you can visit these places, but really, if you think about it, they're kind of too dangerous for it to be a realistic travel option. But if you'd like your vacation with a side of danger and possible death, these places are just for you. If not, take a cruise on a Norwegian cruise line to Canada. That's nice and relaxing with very little danger. This list is about places on the planet that are just too dangerous to visit. We won't be talking about places that have like wars going on or something like that. So please, don't comment with, where's Syria? Where's Afghanistan? They're not on this list. That being said, let's take a look at the places that should remain unscratched on your traveler's scratch map. Number 10. The Danakil Desert, Ethiopia. One of the harshest environments in the world is the Danakil Desert in Ethiopia. That's like Eastern Africa. This place gets hot, like buy a car with cloth seats, tinted windows, and AC that spits ice type hot. Temperatures exceed 122 degrees Fahrenheit on the regular. It also has volcanoes and geysers that belch toxic gas. On top of all that, the nearest Starbucks is a 94-hour drive away in Mecca, Saudi Arabia. It's like the Starbucks Mecca. Like I said, it's a harsh environment. This isn't an easy place to get to either. Besides the environment, not a lot of people go here, probably because a broken down car and bad cell service could lead to death. Here's the thing, people are still drawn to this location because of how weird it looks. It looks like it's another world. Is it worth it? Not to me, but to some people it is. Seems like a lot of effort to get some pictures. Number 9. The Skeleton Coast, Southwestern Africa. The Skeleton Coast, which is a coastal region that is spread across South Angola and North Namibia, is a place you don't want to be. That could be their new slogan. San Diego used to use a nice place to be. They could be the anti-San Diego, a nice place not to be. The Skeleton Coast is one of the deadliest places on Earth because of its harsh climate and how remote it is. That's for starters. Hot winds and lack of food and water make it difficult for travelers to explore this silent place. It's very quiet and kind of eerie, apparently. Once you get past the harsh climate, the area is filled with the bones of animals including whales, elephants, turtles, seals, zebras, and the occasional shipwreck, which makes the place a little extra scary. Then of course you have to worry about the roaming gangs. They'll rob you and kill you. That's always nice. If you're a tourist here, I would guess you're not that bright. Undoubtedly, this is among the most dangerous places on Earth. I mean, it's called the Skeleton Coast. That should tell you something. That's like a big warning sign. Don't vacation here. Number 8. Oymyakon, Russia. Oymyakon is a small village located in the Siberian region of Russia. This village is considered to be one of the most dangerous places on Earth because of its extreme winter conditions. Oymyakon is cold. So cold you might want to pack on a few pounds before you actually go, just for the insulation. I'm in luck. I stay Oymyakon ready year-round. The severe temperature makes it almost impossible for people to live in this region, but they still do. There's like 500 people living in Oymyakon, and they shouldn't be. The temperatures drop as low as minus 90 degrees Fahrenheit. Yeah, you heard me right. Minus 90 degrees. Google it if you don't believe me. For those of you that do believe me, you get to sit here and watch my dad's reaction when I told him I was going in for my first prostate exam. It does have some months when the ice melts, but it doesn't stay that way long enough to really do anything productive, they say. This area is just plain cold most of the year. There are people that actually live here, like I'd said, and the only visitors they really get are news crews coming to the town to try and figure out why people actually live here and ask stupid questions about the cold. They say it's not uncommon for your eyelashes to freeze together while walking down the road in Oymyakon during the winter. Number 7. The Bikini Atoll, Marshall Islands. Somewhere in the middle of the Pacific Ocean, between Hawaii and Australia, sits a little speck on the map that looks like paradise up close. It looks like a place where you could lay on the beach covered in sunscreen with a drink in your hand that's actually in a coconut with a little paper umbrella. It's just too bad the whole place is teeming with cancer-causing radiation. The United States used the atoll for 23 different nuclear tests that turned the picturesque island of Bikini into a radioactive wasteland, almost like New Jersey with palm trees. The good news is the United States didn't decide to surprise the locals with the testing. The inhabitants were forced to abandon their homes and move elsewhere. Even today, this remains hazardous for living organisms, even people from New Jersey. Number 6. The Valley of Death, Kamchatka, Russia. The Kamchatka Peninsula in the Russian Far East has its very own Death Valley. That's right. Take a step back, California. You ain't the only one that's got a valley that'll kill you. This so-called Death Valley in Kamchatka didn't just pick up the name from like old college buddies or something. This valley earned that name. It kills wildlife all the time. It lies at the foot of a volcano in the Kronsky Reserve in Russia. This small area kills birds and animals and anything else with toxic gas or magic. Not all the locals are on board with science or reality, I guess. In seriousness, the valley has a high concentration of toxic gases and poses a serious threat to every living thing. Plants, animals, timber wolves that have been peed on, everything dies soon after arrival. Humans that enter the valley without respirators or anything like that soon feel unwell, they get a fever, dizziness, and chills. One guy said that it was the worst experience ever. I assume he's never sat through a karaoke night with a man who keeps singing Man-Eater by Hall & Oates with a thick Russian accent. Number 5. Snake Island, Brazil. Not too far off the coast of Brazil, just south of Sao Paulo, is an island widely recognized as another one of the most dangerous places on the planet. No humans are allowed on Snake Island, and there's a good reason for that. There's about one deadly snake per square foot on this island. It's the golden lancehead that calls this island home. The lancehead is so venomous that a human bitten by one could be dead within an hour, and it's also said that it's such a painful venom that you'll die screaming. That's always pleasant. Snake Island is uninhabited now, but people used to live there for a short period up until about 1920, when, according to legend, a local lighthouse keeper and his family were all killed by the vipers that slithered in through an open window. Snake Island's lighthouse has been automated ever since. Yeah, that makes sense. The Brazilian government prohibits any visitors from setting foot on this island. You gotta get all kinds of written permission and jump through a bunch of hoops to go there just to do a news story or something. I saw a couple online. It was really interesting, little nothing of an island with a bunch of venom on it. Number 4, the Death Road, Bolivia. If you're in Bolivia and you're on your way to the capital city of La Paz and you didn't know you're on the Death Road, you will know about midway through the trip, I imagine. And no one has to tell you. It's obvious. There are parts of this road that'll make you want to cry and pee your pants, or if you're riding with a timber wolf, that's another option. The route connects Bolivia's northern region with its capital and begins with a 15,000-foot incline that eventually starts to descend. That's where you run into problems. This road reportedly causes 200 to 300 deaths a year. The road has sections with up to an 11,000-foot drop right off the side, and it has very few barriers. None of that railing stuff here. They have some, but they're few and far between. Numerous cars and thrill seekers go over the edge every single year. Cyclists love this road. Up to 20 of them have pedaled right off the edge in the last 2 decades. Still, the view of the Andes is absolutely stunning. I mean, if you can see through the tears and all the shaking. Number 3, Lake Natron, Tanzania. I've also heard it called Natron. Anyway, this lake looks like the landscape that was in a Star Wars movie, or maybe a Star Trek movie. I say that because I once referenced a Star Wars movie and I got a bunch of those Star Trek loons giving me a truckload of crap in the comments section because I didn't mention Star Trek and I keep mentioning Star Wars. They were weird. They were treating me like I was being racist towards Trekkies. I guess they feel like they're a race now. I don't know. Totally odd. Anyway, the salt crust on the surface of the lake is so dangerous that almost all living creatures die just by coming in contact with it. For obvious reasons, swimming in the lake is strictly prohibited, but I guess the stench of the hydrogen sulfide coming from the lake should be enough to keep people from swimming. The lake is also very shallow and the water temperatures can reach 106 degrees Fahrenheit. I also read another report that said they've had it up to 120 degrees. That doesn't really sound like a refreshing swim to me. Here's where it gets kinda strange. For some reason, flamingos mostly, and a few other avian species are okay with this lake. They actually flourish in it and the flamingos make it their home. The lake is blood red. It's a great place to take some pictures, but I don't know if it's worth it. The stench apparently is pretty bad. Then you're finding dead animals everywhere too. Number 2, Mailu Suu, Kyrgyzstan. Home to about 23,000 people that I'm guessing don't understand radiation is bad. Mailu Suu is a uranium mining town in southern Kyrgyzstan, a site where 10,000 tons of uranium was processed for the Soviet nuclear program. The town is one of the most radioactive places in the world. Landslides, earthquakes, and floods are commonplace in this region, which only increases the risk of radioactive contamination. Now, the Soviet Union left about 23 unstable uranium tailing pits on unstable hillsides above the town, holding about 2 million cubic meters of radioactive waste. This is a major disaster just waiting to happen. So the place is dangerous enough for human beings, but especially dangerous if you're a young lady. Bride kidnapping is a thing here. If a young man decides he wants to marry you, he and his family plan a kidnapping. While he's out trying to get you, his mom and aunts and everyone like that are setting up a wedding party at the house. They snatch you off the street and bring you back to the family's home, where they hold you down until they convince you to marry this dude who, along with a couple buddies, just snatched you off the street. I wonder if you can get bride snatching insurance tagged onto your auto or life insurance. I bet that would be important there. You know, to hire you a lawyer to get you out of the marriage. And number 1, Lake Nyos, Cameroon, West Africa. Situated in northwestern Cameroon, Lake Nyos sits on an area of volcanic activity where carbon dioxide leaks from beneath the ground. Around 400 years ago, this lake was formed after a volcanic eruption that they figure killed a bunch of people. They have no real documentation on how many people were killed because back then, they were still excited about things like the wheel and candles. They hadn't turned the corner on documentary filmmaking or any form of research. But that was 400 years ago and it wasn't done killing folks. In the 1980s, it got bad. 1986 to be exact. During a limnic eruption, the carbon dioxide bursts out of the ground from the bottom of the lake to form a deadly cloud. This is like what happens when you open up a soda can. Pressure is released, and with it brings a cloud of gas, sort of like a soda can of death on a large scale. Because the gas is heavier than air, it descends, pushing oxygen away and suffocating any life in the area. The 2 eruptions in the 1980s killed about 1,700 people and almost 4,000 livestock. Here's the thing. These people can't take a hint. They still live there. There's still villages around this lake. You know, if a cloud of invisible gas killed half my village, I'd take it as a hint to leave. Not these people. Alright, that is my video, the most dangerous places to visit. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope you got some information out of it. Know where not to plan your next vacation. Not a lot of these places have casinos, so, you know, that knocks out about half of you. But anyway, don't forget all the links below. Stay healthy, stay safe. Don't forget to subscribe, and be nice to each other. No timber wolves were harmed during the making of this video.